Hi everyone, this week we are looking in the screencast at ethnicity and crime, focusing on victimisation and ethnicity, finishing up what we've done over the last few weeks on ethnicity. So the focus this week, we're going to look more at the idea that ethnic minority groups are likely to be the victims of crime more so than white people. And can we offer any explanations as why this might be the case? First of all, victimisation has kind of been selected as a target for whatever reason. So it might be because you're rich, or it might be because you're black, or you're Asian, or whatever. And there's suggestion that there is definitely victimisation when it comes to ethnic minority groups. We get our information for this from the British crime surveys, so these are victim surveys, and also from official police statistics. We've already discussed over previous weeks about the good things and also the negative things about how we get our information. And it's broken down into two types of incidents, really. So a racist incident is any incident that is perceived as racist, doesn't really matter what it is. And an aggravated offence is more where an offender is motivated by hostility towards a racist group. So they commit a crime towards a racist group because of their hostilities towards that group. Whereas a racist incident, it could just be that the victim happens to be black and it's not necessarily motivated by previous hostilities. So in terms of the statistics that we have, police report in 2006-2007 that in England and Wales there was 61,000 racist incidents reported to them. These were predominantly property damage and verbal harassment. Of these reports, 42,500 were aggravated offences, racially or religiously aggravated offences, mostly for harassment. And 10,600 were prosecuted during this period for racially aggravated offences. So of the reported racist incidents and those that were reported as aggravated offences, we can see that quite a small amount of them are prosecuted or cautioned. This leads the British crime surveyors to estimate that actually this is incorrect and it's certainly underrepresented and not everything's reported, because they believe that there's 184,000 incidents during that period. So we need to think about, well, what are the reasons why there's a disparity between these figures? Is it because the police don't want the hassle of having extra racist reporting? Does society, the government, etc. not want the public believing that we live in a racist society where these types of crimes are actually occurring? Or is it that the victim isn't coming forward, and that the figures are false because of that? If we look at it from an ethnicity point of view, and the victim of any sort of crime, being someone from any ethnic group, then the figures are a bit different between each group. Mixed ethnic, as you can see, is 36%, black 27%, Asian 25%, and white 24%, and that's the likelihood, the risk of being a victim of crime. There's a suggestion, though, that it's not just about the ethnicity, that there's reasons for this, and these reasons could be because of your age, because of your gender, because of employment, so other things than ethnicity. So if we take an example of violent crime, factors such as being young, male and unemployed are very strongly linked to victimisation. Now within ethnic groups, particularly the black ethnic group, the majority of young males are going to be from a working class background and be unemployed, based on things that we've already discussed in the past, of discrimination within employment, within institutions, etc. like that. So if you have an ethnic group with a high proportion of young males who are also unemployed, then they're likely to have a high percentage of criminal activity, but also, because of intra-ethnic crimes, be more likely to be a victim as well. And that is, as we've said, because of representation within those groups. Some criticisms for these statistics is that, first of all, although they do show us the numbers, And we can criticise the numbers on two scales, I suppose. You know, what the police are saying is different to what British crime surveyors are saying. We've already come across the reasons for differences there, but also the fact that they don't actually show the experiences. They are very quantitative in data. They don't tell us what type of racist incident it was. Sampson and Phillips go a little bit further, and they suggest that racist incidents are generally ongoing rather than a one-off, and these might be lots of minor incidents over time with a flashpoint, and it's these flashpoints that are being reported. But the fact, you know, verbal harassment in the street is more likely to not be reported because it's seen as a minor incident or a bit of a nuisance, and also police might just ignore it because it's a minor incident or a nuisance. Whereas the flashpoints are the things that are being reported. So we can totally contextualise everything that's being done and saying, well, it's actually just the major racist incidents that are being shown on these statistics. There's also a failure to look at the long-term psychological impact of these reports and the damage on the individual. We can assess the damage on property, etc., but we don't know what type of impact it's having on the individual. There are some who link, you know, the likelihood of being victimised over a period of time and lots of minor incidents, and the fact that that victim then turns to criminalisation because they might respond to it. You know, there might be a flashpoint which comes as a result of them just not being able to take as much. So we need to take into consideration, because of these experiences which aren't highlighted in the statistics, how much of that comes as a result of the victim not being able to put up with these minor flashpoints anymore and actually becoming the offender themselves. So if we are going to look at responses to victimisation and racist crimes, then we have two types of active response. Well, first of all is situational response, and that might be where the victim does something to try and stop it from happening again. Now, this could be in terms of property damage. This would be maybe putting bars up on your windows, fireproof letterboxes and doors, fences up, you know, security cameras, all those kind of things. And then there's the physical side of things, which may be more problematic because this is like self-defense groups, neighborhood watch perhaps, which isn't as much of a problem, but especially in America during the 70s, when we had a lot of crime on the subway, vigilante groups were set up to try and protect the citizens because they didn't feel that they were being protected by the authorities who were supposed to protect them, and that's being the police. And that leads us on to why ethnic minority groups need to respond. They feel protected by the police. They feel, as we were discussing, with marginalisation, and they may feel as though they just are not protected and they are not represented by the police. This could be because of, you know, the fact that police seem to ignore racist victims, seem to ignore racist incidents. That could be backed up by the BCS and the police reports being completely different. The idea that there's institutional racism within the police, within the criminal justice system, within wider society as well, and, you know, through employment, lack of employment opportunities for black people leads on to the need to survive and, you know, carry out utilitarian crimes, and that could lead on to the fact that because they are in a working class area that is predominantly made up of ethnic minority groups, they are more likely to rob, mug, burgle, whatever type of utilitarian crime we look at against another person from the same ethnic minority group, the intra-ethnic crime that we talked about. Nice short-ish video this week. What I need you to do is ensure that you do bring your notes and your files. You bring your notes for this video. Anyone who doesn't bring the notes, and obviously they will have to do work in the library to catch up on that. I need to see evidence of consolidation from the stuff that we've done. You should be working retrospectively, looking through your files, seeing the checklist that I give you a few weeks back, possibly before Christmas it might have been, that you've got everything. Are you up to date with everything? Have you got mind maps, flashcards, condensed notes, whatever it is that you do? You need that for every single file, every single topic and every single file. I need you also to make sure that you've checked that you can access Google Drive, Google Documents through your college account, and because we are going to be using that in class when we do this topic. See you all next week. Bye bye.